British Championship. You'll find us on Facebook and Instagram. The Prox Pit Pass. Now, remember, that's also on YouTube, but follow us on social media, because come midweek, there'll be a full kind of like little video. They literally go all around the pits, the lads, talk to all the top riders, get some feedback on it, all that kind of stuff. So don't forget to watch that. That'll be scheduled in the middle of the week. Just keep following us on social media to get more insight other than the racing of what goes on here at a Motul MXGB. So, Phil, here's the riders going out for their sighting. Now, let's break down who did what in qualifying. We're going to go to a quick advert before we do that. Of course, keep everybody happy, particularly all our sponsors that make this whole thing happen.
Fly dope swaggy, that's how I roll. On another level, on another level, on another one above me. Never to the crowd, yeah, I'm feeling so supreme. Feeling so supreme. On another level, on another one above me. Never to the crowd, yeah, I'm feeling so supreme. On another level, on another level, on another one above me.
Okay, welcome back. As you can see, the RFX 125 riders, they are not racing just yet. Don't worry if you just walked in and switched on. You haven't missed any of the action. Here we go. This is the qualifiers. This is how they qualified in this morning's practice. Bill?
Yeah, Jamie Keith then. He took pole position from on the 184 from the number 30 of Charlie Richmond. Ryan Waggett fourth. Hayden Stapp fifth. Alfie Geddes Green sixth. Lucas Moncrief seventh. Drew Stock 8th, Harry Lee 9th, Zane Stevens 10th, and Lewis Spratt top was in 10th. There is all the rest of the qualifiers. Got 28 riders out there on the grid. It was a frantic qualifying. They were first out on track this morning. Little bit damp, little bit wet, but the track, look at that, absolutely prime conditions here at Canada Heights today. This bank bowl turn. That's almost a vertical wall around the inside there, Jeff.
Yeah, the TV does not do it justice because we're right up above that. And Phil's absolutely on point. The track is primo. Little bit heavy going this morning, but any rider would take that knowing that it's going to be prime for the race conditions today. And that's exactly what we've got. So, yeah, I think Drew Stock, he qualified well, but I think he had a bit of an issue in qualifying. I think he might have nipped up one of his bikes. So it's a good job that he got the... That's what I heard anyway. It's a good job that he got his qualifying lap in. But this is going to be an absolute ripper. I should imagine a lot of eyes are going to be on Jamie Keith. As said, he started this championship. Well, he didn't start it. That's the point. He missed round one. But coming in the off-season, I think it's fair to say, this is no injustice to any of the other riders. I think everybody's like, okay, all eyes on Jamie to win this thing. But it's going to make it exciting because he's not in it, and now he's got to play catch-up, Phil.
He's got to come from way back. He's got to win races. I think for what he's got, he's just got to go out there and win as many races as he can, and let the points fall how they do. And like I say, for the rest of the riders, for the likes of Ryan Waggett, he's obviously defending his 50-point lead at the minute. He just needs to go out and do what he did at Hawkston, which is drop the hammer early on, and with a bit of luck, he'll pull another 2 decent starts and get himself out there at the front.
Yeah, I'm as always with the 125 class. Listen, we wax lyrical about it with good reason. If you're a fan of this sport, you know, 125 racing, it just delivers on the smell, the sound, but always the action. You know, because just 125 racing, by the very nature of the bikes, you've got to keep it on the pipe. You've got to keep it in those RPMs, keep the momentum rolling, and it just makes for great racing. When you then stick like I said, a bunch of teenagers all in one race on 125s. With a point to prove.
With a point to prove. That's the thing. They're all looking at. You've got guys in this race who they're out there. They're doing EMX 125 as well, and so they're at a level where they're looking at pushing on outside of the UK, and they're coming back to our races, and they need to be seen to be winning them. And obviously, there's 3 or 4 guys in this one who think, yeah, I've got a chance of winning this every time I go to the gate. What we don't know is who they're going to be. But what I will say is, watching out there this morning in practice, you can see the guys. I mean, they've had a real like mega schedule for the last 4 or 5 weeks. You can see the guys who are sharp.
Yeah.
And so I'm expecting big things from Hayden Statt. Even though the results that come in here haven't, in the EMX stuff haven't been brilliant, here at the RFX 125 Championship, he looks like he's on point today.
You saying that, of course, the EMX that's a tough nut to crack. The 125s is a super competitive class at EMX, and the fact that we've got more British riders now doing the EMX 125, it's a good effect. I'll tell you right now, it's no mean feat just to even qualify. Like, it's hard to qualify just to get into the EMX races. And we've had Drew Stock doing that. We've had Hayden Statt, Charlie Richmond, all these guys who have a stab at it, and they're qualifying, they're getting into the race, and they're scoring points. They're only going to get better and better. So, right now, British Motocross regards of a next little talent pool coming through. I think we're in a good place because we had a bit of hiatus with, like, some real depth of talent for a bit of amount of time. But now we've got a bunch of good 125 riders doing it. The EMX 65 and 85 results of late showed that we've got some good young riders coming through as well. Like we said, the buzz from Hawkstone Phil, like a new era, if you want to call it that.
Yeah, this RFX 125 Championship.
It feels like it.
We're looking there at Fabian Junior Morrison. He scored decent points for, I think was his debut 125 Championship race.
There's Justin Congdon there speaking to his son Archie. Justin and his dad Phil run the track down at Landrake Motor Park.
Yes, yeah.
I'm sure Archie's done several laps around. Of course, we're going to Landrake later on in the series.
Looking forward to that. It's a great track. Always looked after well down there.
Yeah, Phil and Justin do a great job down at Landrake. So get yourself down there to just over the border in Cornwall, just over the river there, not too far from Plymouth. It's always a great one to go to. That's later on in the year, of course. You can see all the schedule and keep up to speed on our social media. And, of course, go on the website if you need more information about the series. There's Lucas Moncrief pulling to the line. Of course, I got a vested interest in Lucas. He rides for my own team there, so hopefully he had a good qualifying. A young rider, first year 125 rider, and he's performing well for us right now. So, but like I said, a real depth of talent. There's Waggett, number 55, series leader, just getting everything prepped for his gate.
Well, you look at where Waggett's gone on the gate, and I can't see anybody faster than him on the outside of him. So that means to me that Richmond... Keith and Charlie Richmond are down the inside behind that motor.
Unfortunately, our camera angle. So Lewis Spratt is not the inside gate. I just want to stress that.
Yeah,
can't quite because it's kind of like a tapered start coming into this first corner. So we haven't been able to pick up the inside gates. But trust me, when they come off the gate and funnel into this first corner, you'll be seeing them. Yeah.
So here we are then, going along the gate as they start to stack up. And it's always difficult to know where to go here. It's so condition oriented as well. It's a dry day. They've watered the start straight, and obviously it's an uphill start for these 125s as well. So that is going to be, that's going to be the killer for sucking the power out of these little bikes. There's the 80 of Zane Stevens. There's Waggett on the 55.
There's Keith. He was just out of our view behind that Motul banner. Right. So he's not gone right inside.
No, he's not. So they're about 4 or 5 guys across.
But look at that. So Keith, Statt, and Richmond all together.
Yeah, there's Alfie Geddy Screen. There's the 418 of Drew Stock. So the 259 of
a lot of Yamahas out there. It looks like a Blue Crew super finale at the minute.
So, so it's looking that like our fancied runners are halfway across the gate as we wait for the 15-second board to go up.
You'll know, even if we hold this camera angle, because you'll see them lock in, clunk it into the gear. Here we go. The board must be up. We're looking straight across the start gate.
Away they go.
Flyer from, looks like Keith made good reaction times, and Richmond. They're all right there, but it looks like Charlie Richmond and Waggett. Oh, Lucas Moncrief tucks the front end.
He took the front end and his handlebars went in the back of Jamie Keith's wheel there, so that held Keith up. As we look at
Did he? I think he might have rode into the back of, or a slight collision there, but it's Waggett right where he wants to be. Championship leader.
He's going to lead him down into this loop. Now, this is quite soft in the bottom of here, Jeff, already quite rutted out. So it's Waggett then from Richmond that looks like that's another Yamaha. Is that Stock there in third as they go up the hill?
That's Drew Stock, definitely. Drew's grown up quick. He's quite a size now.
And these guys have a sweet spot for a 125. They need to be filling out a little bit from a big wheel 85, but they don't suddenly want to be turning into a muscle-bound guy that's going to struggle on a 125 and a 250. But Waggett through the woods then for the first time, round through the K-Tech loop in the woods. And they will jump down the hill here. This is a nice double down the hill.
Lovely jump that is, Phil.
Yeah.
It's a real popper. It's just a nice feel in that one. Now, maybe in the last race, maybe not so much. But they've done great work with the track here, Phil. Basically this Liat loop in the middle. Yeah. Brilliant stuff.
Richmond then already starting to try and put some pressure on Waggett at the front as they come over the tabletop for the first time. And they're up and round this lovely bank motor turn. They'll come through the RFX waves here. There's a lot of time to be made here. There's Stock coming through. He's there in...
There's Keith.
Yeah, Keith there.
The red boots.
He's there. Waggett was railing around the outside there this morning, Jeff. Absolutely on fire, but he's gone for the inside line. And then this is the leap up. There's a big table here, which he's got to get over.
That is huge for a 125.
He
overjumped it.
Oh, and that's going to cost him.
Yeah, it definitely has. The K-Tech timing tower. Obviously, that is how they qualified. That will change as they cross the finish line now. By the way, if you're going to...
Richmond down the inside of Waggett.
Yeah, he's got it done. But the Planet Moto first lap leader was actually Ryan Waggett, I think.
It was. So Richmond takes the lead as they go past the signal area for the first time at the completion of the first lap.
This is going to be a brilliant race. And they're at it already, Phil. Look at this. Get it on. By the way, we just want to apologise if you are picking up bike sounds through our mics. It's because me and Phil are virtually in the race. Yeah, we are so close to the side of the track. This is going to be brilliant, Phil.
So Waggett going down the outside there. Oh, he's gone down. He's buried the front. Waggett's down. So that hands second to Stock. It was Keith that was across the line in fourth, so he'll inherit third. But that's a really soft. It's been ripped really, really deep in there. So Richmond's suddenly been let off the hook. They come through the woods then into this K-Tech loop just out of our sight in the trees, and he'll pop down over this really nice downhill tabletop.
Okay, so this moto is 20 minutes plus 2 laps. There's a lot of time still on the clock. We are barely into it, but this is looking good for Charlie Richmond there on that S. Briggs Yamaha. The S. Briggs guys doing such a great job getting behind a lot of young riders, and I really like that. You know, they could have they support a lot of pro riders as well, but they are putting a lot of investment into, like Charlie Zane Stevens, for example, and a few more riders that we don't see at this championship, but at the youth championship.
So there's Keith, and he's starting to close down on Drew Stock. Didn't quite see that was a thing, but I think that's the 142.
Of course, any rider that's had injuries, you just got to... You can't go too gung-ho too early.
No, Christopher Spratt there, he will have inherited that fourth position, and he qualified outside. He was qualified in 14th, so he'll be well pleased with that. Showing the gap between Stock.
Oh, that was beautiful by Hayden Stout. I'll tell you what, you've got to huck that 125 up over that.
But he's not got a good start, and he's absolutely got to get his finger out because he's a long way adrift.
Hayden's in fourth there. I'm amazed how much he's grown.
Yes.
He looks like he's grown about another foot since Hawkstone.
Definitely. And as a result of that, all of a sudden he's just got a little bit more mastery over the bike. I won't say he looked like a pea on a drum at Hawkstone, but you could tell there was a few places in the soft sand out the back where he was just lacking a little bit of physical size. But in 6 weeks, he looks like he's grown about a foot. You are quite correct.
I say that because I can always obviously commentate him on the 85 class, where he was this little kid that used to rocket out of the gate, and now look at him. They grow so quick, don't they?
So let's see, where did Waggett come across the line? Waggett came across the line in 6th, so he's not out of this one yet. And he's obviously got a little bit of work to do. But the 2:18 for Waggett, so that cost him 10 seconds to make their way through the trees then. Our campsite in the background there. There's a lot of people here this weekend at Canada Heights for the round 2 of this British Championship.
Right, we are basically a quarter of the way. We're excluding the 2 laps you get at the end. We've had 5 minutes into this, so we've got just under 15 minutes to go. Plenty of racing left in the tank. I'm going to be intrigued to see Jamie Keith's strategy in this one. Does he just come back in and go, I'll just settle for it, or is he going to roll the dice and try and win it? I'm sure he will, given the chance, but he's got a bit of work to do. He's 5 seconds, nearly 5 seconds behind Drew Stock, and then alternatively another 6 seconds back. So nearly 10 seconds behind Richmond.
So there's Waggett recovering then, nicely bouncing through there. And then it's the 142 of Chris Brindley. But Waggett then, he's back up to 5th.
Yeah, Brindley having a really nice ride actually. Don't too much about Chris, and he's having a solid ride there in 5th. That's Waggett, Spratt, Fabian Junior Morrison. And then Cameron Greenlight there running out the top 10th. I think Harry Lee currently in 10th.
So it's like 4 and 5 second gaps at the front. Richmond away by 5 from Keith, who's got 4 seconds over Stock, who's got 4 seconds over Stat. With Waggett there just coming up the hill now in 5th. So those guys, we'll see if Waggett's got a fast lap in him.
Quick update, Lucas Moncrief, who you saw crash in the first corner, he is on the charge. He's got himself now up to 16th. So, but of course, the higher you get, the harder it gets when you start getting up equal measured riders. So,
not an easy track to pass on, Jeff, this Canada Heights circuit. And as we watch Stat then using all of the road, so to speak, and let's not forget this is one of the few tracks in the country that's still lined with chestnut fencing.
Yeah.
So there is absolutely no room for error. As Richmond then still out the front.
Got to say though, I think the new old layout, because we've had this layout before a long time ago, is probably the more favoured layout. Personally, in my personal opinion, regards of opening the track up with a few more lines. It's I think that middle section, particularly the Liat loop, there's going to be as the track churns up. There's going to be some overtaking done on that section, Phil. Just
to note there, as they came through the RFX waves there, that Keith then went triple, double into that, which is the fast way through, whereas our race leader, Charlie Richmond, he went double, single. So a little bit of time to be had there as they come round to complete another lap. Let's see what the gap is at the top this time as Richmond comes across the line.
Well, he's getting a lick on now because he's obviously disposed, Jamie Keith he's disposed of Drew Stock, and he's now got a clear run on Richmond, and as you can see, he's getting that gap down. So it looks like Jamie Keith is starting to, maybe a little bit of nerves first ride back after injury, regards of the British scene at least.
How much riding has he done? Has he had the chance to get himself, shake out the arm pump and do all of that? He's not had a lot of gate drops.
Well, he's definitely getting up to speed because he's just the monitor's just gone purple here, indicating he set the quickest lap of the race so far. So there you go, and you can visually see the gap coming down as the JK Yamaha rider, winner of last year's Blue Crew masterclass, which means that's how he secured the ride with JK. Full support to go and do EMX 125.
Well, that gap is visually coming down now. It was 3.8 across the line. They pulled 9 seconds on Drew Stock. So he's suddenly falling back into the clutches of Hayden Stat. So Stock is the man that is just losing a little bit of time. But then it's still Brindley there in 6th and Fabian Junior Morrison 7. That's a great one for him. Harry Lee in 8th, Spratt in 9th, and Cameron Greenhalgh rounding out your top 10 with Alfie Geddes Green 11th, St Stephen's in 12th. The 167, Jack Evans there in 13th.
Yeah, then it's James Edgerton, and then Lucas Moncrief, as we said, up into the top 15 after unfortunately laying it down after making a good start as well. It's even more annoying, but the good thing is at least he never got run over.
No, but he was really lucky though, because as he lost the front, he dropped the bars on the back of Keith's rear wheel, and that held the 184 up literally just for a couple of seconds. But he was really lucky that didn't get dragged in, because he would have been almost certainly out of the race if that had happened.
So we're just waiting for them to come back round, pick them up. As you can see there, there we go. That's number 16. Was it 16? Anyway, I missed that. But just trying to pick up the leaders. I can see there's Reggie Willett, number 100. As I said, I believe this is his first ever. Obviously, his dad was a top-level, particularly two-stroke rider. Two-stroke British,
Definitely, yeah,
British 125.
He was a proper quick guy back in the day.
Yeah. So we're trying to find Richmond on the screens. There's number 422. That is Joe Granger. So watching Joe currently on screen. Just trying to find the leaders because there they are coming into lap traffic. This circuit winds its way up and down through the trees. It's easy to lose sight of the leaders. Just behind the rider you got on screen is the race leader. We come into view. There he is. Charlie Richmond getting held up a little bit there.
So he's got to fight his way.
Yamaha.
Yeah, he's got to fight his way through this lap traffic, and they're into it pretty quickly. It was 2 seconds across the line with Keith, and as they come through this turn, Jeff will get a really good visual. There he is.
Oh, it's coming down.
It's coming down. See where they look.
Yeah,
Keith triples in.
That's a huge gain there, Phil. Tripling in like that. Look at it. You can see the difference by tripling in there.
Yeah, Richmond goes in, not quite to the tight inside, and Keith goes right to the inside, and they're going to come up these steps now. He's got to get this inch perfect to get up the second step and not give up any time to Jamie Keith as they come round to complete another lap.
Oh, great first race shaping up. Listen, Hawkstone, the 125 class, absolutely delivered. Set the tone for the rest of the day, the whole championship, and it's happening again. Just brilliant racing in this RFX 125 class. We are at 12 minutes and 23 gone on the clock, which means we got 7:30 to go, plus 2 laps.
So I think Jamie Keith now will be looking for a spot. Be interesting to see whether he tries to make a move down the outside here. No, they've got lap traffic, so that's going to cause a problem, but he's right on the back of our race leader. Oh, and he didn't get out of that turn very well at all, Richmond, so he's got to fight his way through in the woods. Oh, he blasts up the inside. Like I say, he's the first man on the scene.
Yeah, it's always an issue. Difficult for leaders out there when they come in. Just goes to show the pace, actually, that their top riders are. If we're like at the 7 or 8 minute mark, 13, and they're heavily into lap traffic already. Be interesting to see how Keith plays this. Everybody's got different tactics. Maybe he's feeling the momentum. I know what I would do. I would sit there for a bit. I wouldn't try making a move on him yet. I'd just try and force Richmond into a bit of a mistake, make him feel the heat for a little while. Jamie, at this point, under that crash helmet, clearly knows he's got the speed to make the move. Here we go. That triple in. Watch the difference.
Is he going to get him up on the run up the hill?
It's the momentum coming out. Look, probably 2 or 3 bikes gained there.
Oh, Keith decides. There's the 2 different inside lines there. Keith's going to go around the outside. Richmond looks across and shuts the door on him.
Now what?
This is it. Keith's going to have him up there. No, neither of them get the table.
Well, smart riding from the pair of them because they had a lap rider in front. You didn't want to be jumping that. That could have ended badly.
So patience from Keith there, and I think that that have been the last lap. There'd have been a full send from both of them, but still with the time that we've got left on the clock, I think Keith is just, like you said, Jeff, biding his time.
Yeah, so it's the S. Briggs Yamaha rider against the JK Yamaha rider currently. Look at Jamie Keith carrying all that momentum, written on the board.
Yeah, but look, fair play to Charlie Richmond. He's holding him off.
If you're Charlie at this point, you can't roll over. You've got to fight tooth and nail. And let it be known that you're not going to give up this spot easy. Like, quite rightly, like, block him, come across on him. You got to do what you got to do to try and take the momentum out of Jamie's sails, because he's caught him up, and that can get you out of the rhythm. Your breathing goes. He's got to try and now break him back the other way, and he's doing a good job of it at the minute.
Well, let's looking at the timings. Jamie Keith, then, these guys have absolutely checked out from the rest of the field. They've got 22 seconds on the 418 of Drew Stott, with Waggett in fourth, just 5 seconds adrift. Then it's Hayden Stat. I expected maybe a little bit more out of Hayden, but like I say, first year on a 125 him, let's not forget. So he's definitely a man to watch for later in the season. But these two boys are absolutely checked out at the front.
Again, this is the ace up his sleeve. Look at that, all that momentum into that. That's nearly a second gain, isn't it, every time? And he's right back on him now. So he's got that ace up his sleeve. He knows that. I wonder if Charlie knows that he's actually gaining on him there.
Yeah, I mean, Charlie's making no attempt to do that. He gets a much nicer run out of there this time. No slower traffic. So he'll get up the step, over that Fox tabletop and up the Bell step. It's just a nice, you get the first bit right, the second bit, you get that for free. Like we saw the previous lap. Both of them struggling to get over it, down into this Prox loop. And Keith, like I say, I think he's just sitting there.
We don't know how much riding Jamie's been doing with those, obviously, double collarbone injury and a back injury. It's going to show, though, in the last 5. We know where he's at.
We will know where he's at, and I don't think anybody would be surprised to see him just dropping off the pace a little bit through fitness, because upper body injuries, it's so difficult to keep your fitness level to where it needs to be. Oh, he's trying to slide down the inside. Oh, that was optimistic, I would suggest there. Maybe you just got a little bit cross-rutted on the way down the hill.
Actually turned out better than I thought, though. I thought he was going to lose a bunch of time there, but maybe he's just trying to develop a new line for himself there, which is actually, sometimes that's, you got to get creative and start creating your own lines to try and make passes, and I think that's what he was looking at there. Didn't really work. Maybe it will do a bit later on.
Yeah, through the K-Tech loop, then there in the woods. And Charlie Richmond, he's taken all the pressure that Jamie Keith can throw at him so far. Half a second across the line last time, but really the time thing doesn't matter now. The gap's visual. And again, as they start to find their way into the back markers, the time difference of the speed of the riders will make them more difficult to pass.
This is just a fantastic, intriguing first RFX 125 race. If nothing more than that, okay, look, they're not banging bars as such yet, but there's hardly anything in it. Keith trying to run, forcing it.
That was a pass that he knew he had to make. He committed to it and didn't back out of it. And our new race leader then is the 184 JK Yamaha of Jamie Keith, with Richmond then on the S-Briggs Yamaha. Has he got... Oh, that was a bit of a kick there for our race leader.
I saw that earlier on in practice, Phil. There's a couple of ruts there that have got a very nasty kick.
Let's see if Richmond can do anything back. This will tell us what set pace Jamie Keith has. If Richmond can come back at him now, I think that we will definitely have a proper race until the end But if he starts to gap him out over this next 6 or 7 corners, then I think Jamie's going to be in the box seat for the win.
I'll be intrigued to see, once he sees Keith do the triple in at the rollers, whether he steps up to the plate and goes, okay, I need to do the same. So let's see if that happens. If not on this lap, once he sees him do it, he might have to realise that he's got to do that to stick with Jamie. It's holing out there, Phil. There's some kickers going up that hill, but like we said, this is Motocross. It's that's what you got to deal with. It's one of the most demanding sports in the world.
And obviously we've got an overcast day here at Canada Heights today, so the sun not breaking through like it did yesterday, so going into the shadows not as much of a problem. But I think Richmond's keeping him honest there. He's not dropping off a massive amount, 4 or 5 bike lengths, so he's still in with a shout as they come down into this left-hander and into the layout loop. And now this is the bit where we're expecting that Keith, is he going to give up his secret that he's tripling in, and will Richmond see it? Look over the shoulder then from race leader Jamie Keith on the JK Yamaha. This is where he made the pass on the previous lap. And yeah, the gap now out to Richmond, then out to about a second and a half, but Keith not getting over the Fox table.
Time has elapsed, so it should be the 2-lap board when he comes round this time around. We might not get to see it. There it is. Al's on the scene, on the case. Alan Crook there doing a great job.
So Richmond still close enough to be close, and as we saw there, Keith did not get over that Fox tabletop in the middle of the corner, and it brought Richmond right back onto the back wheel of the 184.
Yeah, this is not done. It's fair play to Charlie. We couldn't quite see if he did the triple in, but even if he didn't, that little mistake from Jamie, he hasn't lost the toe. This is still on. Jamie is, Keith, your race leader 184 on the JK Yamaha, has to execute here. He can't afford to make a mistake because Charlie Richmond is right there. They have checked out. They are literally, well, you can see the gap, 26 seconds ahead. Look at it. This is the move. Talk it through, Phil.
Yeah, just Keith sets himself up on the inside, and as Richmond drops it in, Jamie's just ridden him straight out of the rut there. It was, I think that tells me that was the only place he thought he was going to pass him.
Tell you what, that was a courageous move because he didn't have a lot to work with there, and I've got to say, actually that was quite good heads-up riding as well from Richmond, because that actually could have ended pretty bad for both of them. So
he could have closed him out, couldn't he?
Yeah.
And it would have made life very difficult for both of them as they went into that turn. And it'll always be a what if. I think that if he had lent it in on him, I think Keith would have come off second best.
Yes.
But there's always that inbuilt avoid the collision, and this is where being a pro at the level that the 450 guys are, they make these decisions.
Okay, we followed James. I was just going to see if we could stick with Charlie to see if he's not sure.
He's too tight up against the fence on those RFX waves up the hill.
But certainly, even if he's not doing it now, he'll have that conversation between motos.
One of his mates will be sending him a message between races after watching us, Jeff, and saying, you need to triple in. I know I would be.
Yeah, much cleaner that time from Jamie Keith, and what a difference it made. Right, there's going to be 1 lap to go. I'm going to head down to the winner's circle. I got a bit of a jaunt to get on down there this time. So we're going to talk to hopefully the top 3, if not certainly the winner. Phil's going to bring you in with this one. And let's see if Jamie Keith can hold it all the way to the flag.
Yeah, Jamie looks over his shoulder then, and he will still see the number 30 of Richmond. Not far enough back. He's look, you can on the pit board, and he's certainly close enough to make it happen. Stock a distant 3rd, and it's Waggett 4th, Stat 5th. But this is the battle at the front, and there's lots of traffic. 5 or 6 riders as Jamie Keith then drops down. Oh, he stalled it. Keith's got... they both made a mess of it. Keith got cross-rutted and almost in sympathy. The number 30, Charlie Richmond, did exactly the same. This is why you don't follow. It's so easy. If Richmond hadn't have had to jump out the rut there, it looked like Keith had made a complete nonsense of it. But lots of traffic then as they come through. Keith will be shouting at the top of his lungs for these guys to get out through the K-Tech loop in the woods then. There's a race leader. Richmond's had to go round the outside, and he's lost some more time as they come down the hill. Blue flag's being waved then, so the leaders then go into the tabletop. Over the tabletop, they'll come into shot here. They look over at the race here. They come then. Oh, they're right next to it. Oh, Richmond had a good look down the inside there. And here they come up the hill then. Last quarter of a lap. And Richmond tried to run it in really hard on Jamie Keith there. That was a fantastic attempt to try and see if you could snatch the win. Here they come then. Final time, run to the line. They're in the traffic, but it is going to be Keith that comes across the line and takes victory from Charlie Richmond. That was 1.8 seconds. In fact, it wasn't. It was 0.9 as they came across the line. So our first RFX 125 race then in the books. It's going to be a long time then before we see Drew Stock come across the line in 3rd. And that looks like that was Stock there, just with Waggett right on his tail. 0.7 for those, and then it should be Hayden Statt next across the line. A long gap then back to Statt. Then it's going to be the 1:42. A great result. There's Statt coming across the line now. No, it should be the 1:42 of Chris Brindley with the 17 of Harry Lee in 7th. We're still waiting for those guys to come, but Jamie Keith, he made the pass with about 3 to go, but Richmond came back at him down the bottom end of the circuit, tried to put a move in around that hairpin on the run into the RFX waves, and so it should be Lee, Greenhalgh, Fabian Junior Morris and Lucas Moncrief coming across the line next, and I think they're all in a great big gaggle. I'm sure you agree, that was a brilliant start to our day's racing here at round 2 of the Motul ACU British Motocross Championship. And if our MX2 guys have got anything in the books to add to that. There's Moncrief, I think, come across the line. So we're going to take a short ad break and we'll be back, and we will be hopefully down with Jeff in the winner's enclosure. Okay, so welcome back. That's the conclusion of our first RFX 125 race, and Jeff is down in the winner's enclosure with our race winner, Jamie Keith.
Indeed, yeah, Jamie, congratulations. Obviously, we know, we told the story in commentary. You missed the first round through injury. It's a championship you want to win. You've just got to roll the dice and try and catch up, and you've got off to a great start, effectively, here at round 2.
Yeah, I need to try and win every single race, really, to get the championship, because I was gutted last year that I lost it at the last round. But yeah, I just got to take each weekend as they come. Yeah, it was tough out there as well. Charlie's put in the work over winter, and it's showing. Yeah, so all that time I've had off the bike, I can feel it towards the end of that race. So, but yeah, I couldn't be happier first. What more can you want?
It was a pass that needed to happen. I mean, you ran it in there. You went for it.
Yeah, again, I was sat behind him, I was getting roosted, and I got a rock to the finger, and I was like, I've had enough of this, I've had enough. So I seen I had a better line through the whoops, and I was tripling in, he was only doubling, so I thought I'm going to have to do it. So scrubbed the jump after it, and I just held it wide into the corner. Sorry, Charlie.
No, he's cool with it. Well, congratulations, mate. Good luck. Hopefully you do the same in that one from your point of view. If you want to roll out, we'll keep this rolling. Charlie Richmond, come on in. Let's get him over here. We keep it rolling like this. It makes it more real this way. Come on, Charlie, stop dwelling. Like an old mother's meeting over there. They're all chatting and breaking the race down. It's actually good. Like, he's just apologised to Charlie, but Charlie would know that's straight up fair racing. As he pushes the bike in after a hard graft, Charlie, bring it on in. I'll come around this side for you this time, mate. Can't be bothered in the front of the bike. Hard fought moto, that one. But you knew he was there the whole time. I mean, you know, you rode defensive as much as you could. It looked like you weren't expecting that pass there, though. He came in quite hot.
No, yeah, I weren't expecting it. I didn't realise they were tripling the rollers, but the minute he went past me, I tripled in, but it just weren't good enough. I just need more.
We did say that on commentary. We were hoping that once you saw him doing that, you'd realise that's where you were losing time.
The minute he went past, I did it. I just need that little bit more, just more.
But it's also, you know, like good regard to championship, you're kind of pushing each other along, and the EMXs has been going relatively good for your first year 125s doing it. Are you pleased with where you're at this point?
I mean, yeah, it's not bad. I've only done one round, but I'm going to Erne next weekend, then to Germany, so see how we get on.
Well done on that first moto. I'm sure we'll be speaking to you, hopefully, after the second moto. There's Charlie, move on out on his S. Briggs machine. We're bringing another Yamaha rider, actually, as it goes. We're bringing Drew Stock. Keep rolling them in. Drew, get yourself on the bike. Again, a season so far. It's very early in the season, but like it's starting to come good. It's the second year on the 125 on the Yamaha. Okay, appreciate you got a bit of time to catch those two up, but third's still a third. Are you happy with that, or you feel a little bit disappointed that they got away?
No, I'm definitely happy with that. Yeah, I'm happy with the third, considering how I qualified, but unfortunately had a bike go, and then I unable to finish the qualifying session.
Yeah. I did hear that. But, you know, again, it's all about putting two consistent scores together. It's a long old championship. So, you know, what's the track like out there? It looks already quite surprised how dry it is. We haven't had much rain, but it looks in relatively good condition.
Yeah, it's soft in the downhill bits. It's hard to decide whether you want a sand tyre or a hard pack tyre when you go into the woods when it's quite hard. But, yeah.
Well, look, go and get yourself scrubbed up. Bike's not too dirty. Hopefully, we'll see you back in the winner's circle for the next one. Anybody you quickly want to thank? Because I know you've got a lot of good people behind you.
Yeah, thanks to Lifeline Ancillaries, Bob at Goggle Tech for the goggles, Goswell, he helps out.
Good stuff, mate. Good that they're supporting you. There you go. Drew Stock, go and get ready for Moto 2. I'll walk round the front of you. Okay, they're going to get themselves sorted out. Like I said, you can see here, this is all the fabulous people that support us doing what we do. Moto, obviously, title sponsor. Dirt Store TV getting behind what we do with the live stream. We're going to go to a few adverts now, because without these people, we wouldn't be doing this. So when you see these adverts, get behind them, support the brand. We'll be right back after the adverts with the first MX2 Moto. We'll see you then.
I'm still a kid, but I'm tougher than you think.
Let me fail, let me fall, and learn to get back up.
Let me find my own line, let me go full throttle. Never tell me what I can't do, and let me win. Never hold me back.
Let me try.
Let me try. Never underestimate me. It's the ride of my life.